ever wanted to know everything about weight loss surgery? Well, your wish has been granted. Introducing the Bariatric Beauties, hosted by me, Sherry.
And me, Victoria. Tune in now for tons of great content every Wednesday, 7 p.m. London time.
And 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
You won't want to miss a thing.
Disclaimer, Victoria and I are not medical professionals. We are just two chicks talking about bariatrics based on our journeys. Hello!
Hello!
And welcome back to the Bariatric Beauties. It is Wednesday, so we have a new show for you, and we're excited. Quick little thing, we were unable to do Motivation Monday on Monday. So we are sorry about that, but we will be back next Monday. Sometimes things just happen, and life just happens.
Sorry, guys.
But we'll be back next week. But we're excited today because we have another special guest. Her name is Hallie. And she had the RNY 10 years ago. So I'm really excited to talk to somebody who's been so far out of it and see what the experience has been like for her. And so, Victoria, do you want to just bring her on?
She's so lovely. Yeah, no, she's so lovely. As you say, it's 10 years, so it's great to hear her story. It's great for new people to hear her story and get inspiration. So let's bring her on.
Hey, come on board.
Go. There we are. Hi, Hallie.
Hi, guys.
First and foremost, thank you so much for being here today. We're really excited.
Thank you so much.
And so I kind of gave you forewarning. I think we're just going to kind of put you in the hot seat for a little bit.
Okay.
Because you've been so far out, there's so many times we get asked, when you're in support groups like we were talking about, a lot of people are only like 18 months post-op or 2 years post-op. And there's so many questions, and all the time we're asking, people are like, can I talk to somebody who's been 5 years out? Like, I wanted, what is the big picture like? What happens 10 years after this surgery? So now we can answer some of those questions. I'm so excited.
That's exciting.
I'm such a nerd. So Hallie, welcome aboard. And why don't you tell us a little bit about Hallie's story before the surgery and what made you decide to go down this journey?
Sure. Let's see. My story, where does it begin? It begins probably in gymnastics when I was preteen, believe it or not. I was, pretty active as a kid, but very shy and whatnot. I remember being a teenager or, preteen in gymnastics, and I wasn't fitting in my leotards very well. It's a little chunky. And I think someone made a comment about it, and I was like, oh. And I kind of, went in on myself, and I kind of, and then as I hit, adulthood, 18, I probably still do, have polycystic ovarian syndrome. So I started gaining more weight after turning 18. And that's, I've never been slim. I had parents that said, eat everything on your plate. So I did, and I never had portion control. I went and got married when I was 24. Pretty toxic relationship. I was probably about 215 pounds, maybe somewhere around there.
Right.
That pictures are pretty uncomfortable to look at now. And it was a really toxic relationship. I don't really need to know all about it, but I did.
No, it's fine.
I became a foster parent, and I thought that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to have children because I knew that, oh my word, I knew in my head I wasn't happy. And I knew I was just gaining weight. And then things happened, and I ended up getting pregnant with twins. And they're like the light of my life. And being a foster parent, I had a foster child in my home for over a year. And I decided, well, his rights were being terminated. I've had him since he was a baby. And what's one more handful of pasta in the pot? So I just said, all right, let's do this. And I was still married, and I knew it wasn't going well. And then life happened. Life happened pretty quickly. And I got divorced. I gained 100 pounds. Easy peasy. And I ate my feelings. I didn't know how to deal with life outside. I didn't know how to deal with the fact that I was solo with these 3 boys. I had to move. I had no friends at the time, so I moved back towards my parents. My parents were supportive, and now I had these 3 beautiful children that were looking at me. And slowly but surely, I put on enough weight that I was about 348 pounds at my heaviest. And I was embarrassed to go to chorus rehearsals. I was embarrassed to do all these things, and I was also taking 8 to 10 medications 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Diabetes, heart, blood pressure. I mean, you name it. I had GERD. I don't even remember. I mean, it's been a while. Sorry. But I took so much medication, and I remember going to the doctors, and I was pretty depressed. I mean, I was surviving. I was not living. There was no living.
Not living.
And I think I went to the doctors, and the doctor said, "Look, you're not going to make it 10 more years if you're going on this path. You're not going to make it." And I knew that my kids only had me. I knew that my ex-husband had no custody, no rights. And I was like, okay, I got to do something. And she's like, maybe talk to the surgeon and maybe a band. And, and this was 11 years ago. So I started the process 11 years. And so I was like, all right. So I took my dad because my dad's he's my cheerleader in life. My mom is a fantastic Southern Belle, and I don't fit her Southern Belle standards.
Oh,
that's real, and that's okay. We've come to these things. That's okay. But I am daddy's little girl, and my dad and I went to the surgeon. He said, "Look, you've got so many issues that RNY, a bypass, is going to be the best path for you." And we took all the information, and my gastro doctor said he is the best surgeon in the area. 2 hours from my home, and I knew no one that had the surgery at the time, so no one around me was having it. The hospitals around me were not having done, so the doctors there didn't. My primary, he was like, "Oh, all right, we'll get through it together." Okay. And then that's when it happened. I had the surgery in October. I'd actually have to look on a calendar before Hurricane Sandy. October of 2012, I had the surgery, and it's not an easy road. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Every day is a challenge, and every day brings different challenges, and some days they don't, and some days are, you ride the surf, you ride the waves. So so that's
how did you feel before your surgery, like the night before and everything before your surgery? You like really nervous?
I'm not sure. I'm sure I was very nervous.
Remembering back,
going under and leaving my children. That was probably my biggest fear.
Yeah.
My mom is a nurse, so she decided she was going to go with me, even though she did not support my decision to have bariatric surgery. Because my dad refuses to go to hospitals, which is his choice.
Okay.
So my mom did go with me, and I don't know, I was kind of like, I was put off by the fact that my mom was there, because she was negative Natalie, like, "Oh, why are you doing this? Why, you can't reverse this. Can you reverse this? What if this doesn't work?" Like, she had a lot of questions, but
you didn't need that. I didn't need
it. But you know what? I persevered through. I mean, like, I tried everything. Prior to surgery, I did like everybody else. I did Atkins. I did the grapefruit diet. I did Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig. But the one thing that I did find, I did do a course called Integrative Nutrition. That was probably the best course I've ever taken in my life. And I actually still use it today, even though I've had bariatric surgery, as a tool. I mean, like, look, the surgery is just a tool. I mean, it really is a tool.
Yeah.
And the integrative nutrition is a tool. It's mind, body, and spiritual. So, it talks about how your body reacts to food and how your mind reacts to food, and spiritually, how can you take care of your mind and spiritually. So, I mean,
love that.
I think everybody has to find their own path, and it's different for everybody. And that's really what the integrative nutrition is like. It's
that sounds interesting, the nutrition thing to read.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in that, actually.
Yeah.
So let me know what where to get that, and like where to go for that. I think others would do as well,
Yeah, there's
it's worth letting us know where to go. Yeah.
Sure. there is a book, and you can get it on Amazon, and you don't have to take the course. But the book is great, Integrative Nutrition. And what the main thing about that book was, what I found was, eat something. Why did you eat it? How did you feel right after you eat it? And then time yourself, 10, 15 minutes. How do you feel afterwards? Do you feel sluggish? Do you feel energized? Do you feel how do you feel? And
I had a bit of therapy on that. Oh,
Yeah.
so it's like that, is it?
Yeah,
Oh, I might like that. Because I did have a bit of therapy on that in my rehab.
Yeah, and so it was great, so I found my, the girl that I was working with, she's like, try, eating some oatmeal, and how do you feel after eating oatmeal? I'm like, okay, well, if I eat, this is pre-surgery, and I was like, all right, well, and then I found, and when I ate like an English muffin with peanut butter, oh man, I just was, it tasted fabulous. Well, a half hour later, I just wanted to lay down, and so she's like, well, stop eating that and try something else. And so it was, it's one of those, like, try something new, and how do you feel? And even like today, like as I've had complications through, having the surgery, I have found myself going back to that, saying, okay, how do I feel? Okay, if I eat cheese, how am I feeling? If I eat my coffee, is the milk affecting me? It's like, all right, what's really affecting me? Is it environmental, or is it really my insides kicking me?
Is dairy a problem for you since the surgery?
Yes.
Right.
I
okay.
can eat cheese.
Okay.
Drinking
So why
milk
is that then? What happened with the surgery that you're now? Is it just literally the change of appetite, or is there actually something? Did something go wrong?
So for me, what I've read is that my understanding is dairy is really only meant to be taken as an infant, and so some people can digest it. After toddlerhood, and some people can't. And so I don't know if when I was heavy and had a stomach the size of a 2-liter bottle, I could stomach it.
Didn't notice it.
Yeah,
didn't notice it.
Kind of goes through me and says, "Oh, hello, I'm back again."
That's
So yeah, so it's one of those things, and I don't know, it happens.
Yeah,
and
it's the same with me.
Yeah, it's just it's a new normal.
It's only because I know somebody who's really allergic to it, isn't she, Ma? She's terrible. Yogurts, anything, just terrible.
I'm the same way. As a kid, we drank milk with our cereal all the time.
You did, yeah.
Something happened when I came into adulthood where my literally overnight I became like lactose intolerant. And to this day, now there's certain ice cream that I will eat. And I know that I'm going to regret it later, but I'm trying to find like more like soy-based options.
Something else.
Like, some things for me are worth tiny bit of risk,
Pursuing.
Like I'm Italian. I'm not giving up cheese. Like, it's not happening. Like, I'm gonna eat cheese. But I don't drink milk anymore. I'll do like an almond milk or a soy milk or something like that. And I noticed I don't get the same effects afterwards. Or I do like Greek yogurt, things that don't have a lot of lactose in it. So I definitely agree that something shifts when you become out of adolescence. And I've heard that multiple times too.
Well, since the surgery, mine is.
Yeah. And what I love about this program that you're doing is I love that it's not like a cookie cutter solution. It's not that you're eating this and this or counting these points. It's basically, it's individualized for each person. And it's tailored to what works for you and what doesn't. And it just seems like it's a lot of trial and error in the beginning until you kind of find what works for you individually.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's the thing is, and it goes in, it's been a year since I've read this book, but a lot had to do with how does, how is it that some people can thrive on Atkins? How can some people thrive on these things? You got to also remember it's not sustainable. You got to find what's sustainable for you and your environment. So, what's sustainable for me? Is eating raw vegan sustainable? Not when I have an 8 potatoes eating husband. Do I get him to drink beet juice? Sometimes. Sometimes, but it's you got to find it's a balance. There's no cookie cutter. I think I don't really stress about points anymore. Yeah, have I, during COVID, did I put on a few pounds? Absolutely. But have I taken them off? Yeah, I've started taking them off. I go to the gym all the time now. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, it happens, and you just got to get back on path. And sometimes you have to take a detour.
Yeah.
Mm.
Enjoy it.
And so I know some of the biggest concerns of people who are thinking about having this surgery is they hear these horror stories of all of these different complications or things that can go wrong and stuff like that. Did you have any complications as a result of the surgery?
Sure, I've had a few. I struggle with anemia. Enough so that I do not absorb iron pills. So I've actually had iron infusions. So I have about once a year. I finally have gotten a fabulous hematologist. And he said, due to the fact that I am still of age to menstruate, I have to fix that problem before, you know. So once that problem's fixed, which I'm pretty close to, I will, then, you know, that might help, it might not, but
It will help.
once every 6 months to a year, I have an infusion. Fabulous. I did have my gallbladder out, like most
Fabulous.
people, which was
That's just so brilliant.
I did. I have intermittent intussusception. Not a lot of people get it. Some people do. And that is when your intestines telescope back in on themselves, and so things get blocked along the way. So, and the problem is, it only really happens in small humans, babies. And so, for whatever reason, gastric bypass patients, sometimes 5% of them, I'm lucky, I guess.
It's a low percentage too.
So, and it's not normally like, oh my gosh, what is it? So when I went to the ER going, I have so much back pain, I have front pain, I have pain. They did a CAT scan and they came back and said, you have kidney stones and you have an intussusception. And I was like, I don't even know what that is. Of course, you know, I'm on my phone going, what is this?
Yeah.
I can't even spell it, you know?
Yeah.
Google.
So, you know, unfortunately, they've gone in twice. So the first time they went in was about 3 years ago, and they showed me the scan and said, there it is, I got it. We're gonna go in, you know, and because it's intermittent, it wasn't happening at the time. I was fasting. There was nothing in my system. There was nothing going on. So nothing was moving. So he pulled back out after he'd taken all my intestines out and run them and was like, yeah, we got nothing. So then I was so discouraged and so unhappy. He's like, well, you know, live closer to the hospital. And maybe this was a general surgeon who was not a bariatric surgeon.
Yeah.
He said, all right, well, here's the deal. Live closer to the hospital. Maybe eat a steak, and maybe that will help you get an intussusception. I'm like, I don't even know what's causing it.
Yeah.
So this year I have found a gastric doctor that he did a colonoscopy and endoscopy and all those great things. And he said, look, you know, what they're not looking at is you're going to either have like scar tissue, you're going to have a tumor, a polyp, there's going to be something that kinks it.
Yeah.
And so he went and looked around, he dug around, he's like, look, unfortunately, it's going to have to happen again. And when it happens again, you need to know enough to go and get x-rayed. And I was like, oh, all right. So we're going to go get x-rayed. So, but he said, I know that you have this problem. I know that you're going to call me and say, hey, I think I'm having that intussusception. It's the same spot. It's the same place. You know, I was down in Florida. So I was a captain on this boat down in Florida for 6 months. And I was by myself, I had no family, no nothing. And I just was rolling in pain. And I knew exactly what it was. And I was like, I know what it is. So I said, okay, I'm going to have a doctor's appointment when I get back home. And it was like, yeah, we can't do anything. Yeah, you got to do it when it's happening. I'm like, okay, this is awesome. So it's, you know, it's pretty defeating at times, but at the same time, you know, you got to get back on that horse and go, okay, I got this. Clearly, we're going to have to figure it out. So it's a hit or miss. So,
and how frustrating does that have to be that you have to literally sit around and wait for pain to come so that you can go and take, like, are you supposed to manifest like, hey, can you just bring me the pain so that I can finally get this taken care of? Like, that's insane.
Yeah, it is pretty insane to think that, you know, you're going to sit around and wait for this, but that's the intermittent part. I mean, that's how what happens is you just gotta wait.
Yeah.
They don't really know what causes it. So I'm a little more aware and a little more aware of my body, about how, what's coming.
I was going to say, you will get to know your body, won't you? Mm.
Oh yeah, yeah, and
recognize signs and stuff.
Yeah, and I can recognize signs. My husband does too. On when my iron's really low, I'm sluggish. I'm depressed. I'm moody. I'm miserable. It's just like, all right, dude, you gotta go get that checked. So, you learn. I mean, it's been 10 years, so you pick up on these things sometimes.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
And I know, especially when you're extremely overweight and you're obese and stuff, and there's a lot of stigma that surrounds it, and there's a lot of self-esteem issues, and a lot of people, sadly, even today, will view the surgery as taking the easy way out or cheating, or like we still hear Victoria and I on our TikTok just heard it the other day, like, oh, how about
we just had it,
and
why don't you just diet?
So when you have all of these elements, and there's almost like this level of embarrassment to tell somebody that you had surgery, and other people like embrace it. Were you ever in the early stages, were you vocal about what you were doing, or about
did you tell people?
Oh yeah, I did tell people, because I had a very small core group, because I worked in a museum. So obviously I lost weight pretty quick. I looked pretty sick pretty quick. So, I didn't, there weren't a lot of people around me having the surgery. Yes, I did get the easy way out, but, I'm so far out, there aren't a lot of people that know I actually was heavy. Like the people, so where I work now, when I said, all right, I gotta go, I'm being interviewed, and he's like, you have an interview today? I was like, no, I'm not.
Not for a job.
He was like, oh no. I said, and he's like, for what? And I told him, he's like, I would never have known. And so it was one of those, like, really?
Why would he?
Right, why would he? And unless I tell you, you're not gonna know that.
No.
Which is okay. Yeah. So I don't get it anymore, because no one really knows me as a big
from
person.
that time.
Yeah.
No, I love that. And when you and I were talking before this interview, you had made a comment that I am not defined by my surgery. You're so far removed from it. It's been 10 years. Like, I'm no longer defined by that. There's no reason to like broadcast it like it happened yesterday. You're just Hallie now.
Yeah, you're right. In the beginning it defined me, because I was looking to define myself, because prior I really didn't know who I was. I was that people pleaser. I was that person who was always, trying to make sure everybody was happy, and I wasn't making myself happy. And so at that point, I really needed to find out who I was. So yeah, it doesn't.
And this is what we were saying before, wasn't it? You and I were just saying before, like we needed to reinvent ourselves. This was clothes. It was everything. You didn't know what to wear. You didn't know how to be. You didn't know how to suddenly be this strong person that was, don't take advantage of me. I don't have to do that anymore. And why are you not talking to me, or are talking to me all of a sudden? It's a very difficult stage to to the transformation.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There have been many different stages of accepting, and why aren't people talking to me, or what have I done? And then it's like, wait, it took a long time. Like I said before, it took a long time for me to realize, I don't care what you think about me, because I have to worry about me. And honestly, here's the thing, I'm gonna judge me harder than you will ever judge me. So I don't care what you think. I'm probably doing it worse than you are right now.
Yeah.
That's true.
I have a question. So did you ever, because it's very common, and not everybody goes through it, when people talk about like body dysmorphia, Victoria and I have been vocal about it on past shows, where we had two elements of it. We would have body dysmorphia at our heaviest, where sometimes we didn't really truly understand or see ourselves as big as we were, until a photo was snapped and posted somewhere, or until you caught a quick glimpse of your reflection and you're like, that was me.
Whoa, is that me?
You see yourself every single day. You're not seeing like this huge jump from like, 200 to 300 pounds. And then you lose all this weight and you lose it so quickly, your body doesn't have time to catch up with. And again, somebody snaps a picture, you see a reflect, and you're like, wait, that's me now. And you still see yourself as fat. So I know that Victoria and I have been vocal about experiencing like a version of body dysmorphia on both sides of the spectrum. Did you ever deal with that?
Oh, absolutely. And honestly, I still deal with it today.
Really?
Absolutely. I always think to myself, what could I have done different? How could I have tried to help my body and mind keep up? I did read somewhere where someone actually had full body pictures taken of them before their surgery, and someone drew them out on butcher paper so that you could physically see how big you were, because I could physically see how big I was and how small I got. From going from a size 24, 26, pant to a size 4-6, it's like, how is that possible? Whose pants are those? And I honestly, I only have kept, out of the 10 years, I've only kept one pair of pants, just to remind myself.
And I kept a dress. I wish I'd kept some trousers, but I kept a dress.
I'm ready to let it go because I don't really need it anymore.
Yeah.
For now, until I get to my goal, I just want to look at before and after, and I want to have photos all during to keep me going and keep me motivated. I think then I'll chuck it because I hate it so much.
No,
I despise it.
I kept pants for a long time. The highest I had gotten to was, I think, a size 26. And then I remember when I went to Kohl's, which is a department store out here, Victoria, because they don't know this on
okay.
Kohl's is a department store, but what I liked about Kohl's at the time is
there are others out there.
Yeah, and they carried bigger sizes. They had, it was a department store, so they would go up to a size 26. And I remember when I went to Kohl's and I fit into a size 10, and I was like, I've never in my entire life ever been a size 10. And I posted a picture on Instagram of the size 26 and the size 10 right in front of it, because there was something about the visual reality of seeing the difference. It completely blew my mind. So then it got to a point where you've been consistent for a long time now, a couple years have passed, and I'm like, I don't need these jeans anymore. There's no, I'm never going to get into them again. I will do whatever I have to do to prevent that. I felt like by holding on to them, I was holding on to that fat, or almost giving myself the suggestion that I might need these again one day.
It's true. Yeah. And so, that's why I got rid of everything. That's exactly why I got rid of everything and only kept that one dress. Because I got that dress because I found it somewhere. But everything else, I was just throwing. Right, I'm never going to be that size again. So let's just throw that. Let's just throw that. I don't need that. Don't need. And then I realised I haven't got anything to put anything against it to stand in. Everybody was standing in things like in both legs. I wanted to stand in both legs.
You're going to. It's happening.
I might have to buy some in order to stand in both legs of what I used to wear.
Why are you so angry? What is happening?
Because I want to stand.
We touched on a nerve for Victoria today. So, hello, Victoria. On a Feel Good Friday, we're going to make that happen, and we're going to take video. Okay?
I love it.
Oh
and then I'll feel good. Yeah, I'll feel much better then.
And
sorry, was that really aggressive? I do apologize.
I was giving you a hard time. But I can tell that you're very passionate about this subject.
Very passionate about the jeans.
Oh my God. So I know that you had said that you were almost 350 pounds at one point. And I don't know if you told the viewers today, but I think you had told me you're about 5'1", correct?
I am, on a good day.
On a good day. So that's so how much weight have you lost? That's 180 something pounds, I believe, or something like that, right?
I weigh about 168 pounds.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah, I actually have to get a calculator out to
that's our calculator right there. Sure.
Here's the thing. I think I got my lowest was 138. I was pretty sick. during COVID. So I think about 145 is probably my happiest weight.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows, really? Just let's be honest. Not that I don't care. I do care.
No, but it's just a number. It's how
just
you feel.
It doesn't that, that it's funny because, I've gone to the doctor's, like a new doctor, and I've stepped on the scale. She's like, oh, I'm like, I don't care. I don't care how much I weigh. Like,
yeah,
sister.
Yeah.
As long as it's, hey, 300 pounds, 200 pounds, I'm
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, do I step on a scale? I actually went to Planet Fitness, and I was like, so where is the scale? They're like, we're a judge-free zone. I was like, I got that. But where's the scale so I can like measure myself? And
Yeah.
we're a judge-free zone. We don't have a scale. I was like,
Oh.
okay. So a battery for my one here at home, and I was like, I just got,
got fed up with it. Yeah.
And so and that's such a huge, incredible transformational weight loss. And everybody's different. I've heard when it comes to like something like excess skin, some people don't really have very much. Some people have a crazy amount. You can have two people that start at the same height and weight, lost the same amount of weight, and one of them will have excess skin and the other one won't have it as bad. Did you struggle with that at all?
Absolutely. I had a lot of excess skin.
Okay.
And I did have skin surgery.
You did?
I did. I had it 360. So I always say I had my body cut in half and all my skin was pulled down.
So it's literally, because I don't know enough about the if people are watching, what does the 360 like actually entail?
Yeah, so it starts at your, bikini area, goes around your hips, kind of dips down into your butt, and then dips out of your butt, and then comes back around. So completely, and they cut out your belly button, and when they pull down your skin, they leave your belly button where it was because it's not going anywhere. I was like, can we just not put it back? I was like, you're not fun. So they did that. So I had that surgery done first, and then I had my breast done second. So I didn't have a lot of very large and deflated breasts. So that was very concerning. Thinking back, I didn't have any complications, but I did have a lot of pain. Like if I had to do it over again, I'd probably not do 360 because it took at least 5 months of
5 months. Oh, I thought 3.
It was about 5 months, and 4 months. I flew from Rhode Island to California to speak at a conference. Should I have? I don't know, but it was so far out, I didn't think it would be a problem, and it was a struggle. And I think I also struggled with mentally, like, where was I physically? Why are people so like? Why are people attached to talk to me now? Why are I could walk in Starbucks and no one would say a word to me, and why everybody talks to me? And it's like, why are you talking to me? Starbucks was so quick and easy, and now I talk. So.
It's so crazy, and we were talking earlier, and we'll touch a little bit on the show too about how people treat you differently at your heaviest and at your youngest. And there's a story that I tell people that I remember going to a restaurant. I was meeting some friends and they were already inside, and I was walking to the door and there was this man, and I guess these two beautiful women were walking to the door. So he was a gentleman. He opened the door and he let them in, and I was behind them. And before I could get in, he let the women in and then he let himself in. And I was like, oh,
rude.
Freaking rude or whatever. And then like there's so many instances where people treat you differently, or they make comments or they make judgments, and then all of a sudden you lose weight, and those same people are now like reaching out to you like, hey, I haven't talked to you in a while. Let's go grab coffee sometime. And you're like, why the F do you want to hang out with me now? I'm still the same person. So if you didn't like me before, but now you like me now, it's all like, we were joking. I was like, oh, so now I'm less jarring. I'm more socially pleasing for you to want to hang out with me. And now people will open doors for me in a restaurant. And you're like, I don't need, what was that transition like for you? Like with people, when people are treating you differently? And
well, like I was saying prior, The people that I knew when I was heavy or fat, I don't actually hang out with any of them. So those were toxic relationships. And I live now. I live a pretty happy, simple life. And I'm passionate about what I do. And I don't know. I don't think about it anymore. I'm out of that stage. And it's not healthy to think about it anymore because, I treat everybody the same.
Mm.
And when you cut toxic people out of your life, and I try to tell people, when you're overweight or not even just overweight, when you're so deeply rootedly insecure about yourself that you base your value on how other people treat you or the opinions of others, which is why oftentimes, and all three of us were relating earlier, is you almost bend over backwards more for people because you're afraid if you give that extra mile, they're not going to give you a snippet back of
they're
their
not going to like you.
Yeah. And then something shifts where as you start transitioning yourself, even if it's not with a weight loss surgery, just you're doing things to better yourself and you start gaining confidence and you start really liking who you are as a person, you start kind of being more selective on what kind of energy you will let people treat you. And you kind of I hate to say it, but you kind of get more of a backbone and you become stronger, you're willing to put up with. And it's not because you think you're better than anyone else. It's just like, I deserve at least an equal respect. If not, you should respect me more because I'm putting myself on a higher pedestal.
Yeah.
Like I'm worth more than just piddly shit that people are giving me before.
Yes, absolutely.
And taking advantage.
Yeah. I think I still to this day will allow people, I fall back into the habits of allowing people to do what I allow people to take advantage sometimes, and then I have to stop and think, oh my word, I've got to do something. So and
it's human nature. You're not going to change overnight. Like
we're nice people. That's why.
Yeah. And I'm in situations now where like you start falling into these old habits of kind of bending over backwards for people who don't truly deserve it or are worthy of it. And so it's like I said, we're human. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to put trust into people that turn out to not be worthy of that trust. But at least now we're more likely to cut it off when we recognize the signals than we would have been, 10, 15 years ago too.
Right.
Yeah.
Spin my computer here a little.
No, you're fine.
All right, there we go.
One thing that when you and I first met, there was something that you said that just completely resonated. And I'm like, oh my God, you just hit the nail on the head. And people don't really talk about it, is you said, and I'm going to quote you, like, cause you're like a celebrity right now. And I quote, "This surgery will fix your stomach. It will not fix your head."
Absolutely.
Like when you said that, how my head went
resonated with us.
Say it loud. Like my mind was blown.
Yeah.
Because so often people who have the surgery, especially the ones that are within the first 2 years,
yes,
they think that this surgery is a one and done, cure all, fix all, never going to struggle again. I'm just going to lose all the weight and I'm going to be like everybody else.
Yeah, no. So here's the thing. I will tell you that I am a binge eater. I am an emotional eater. I know these things about me. And has it gone away? No. Will it ever go away? I don't know. But I can recognize the signs now and say, I'm having a lot of stress right now and I'm going to have another ice cream sandwich. I don't care. And, it's like, okay, then I have to stop and think, okay, what is happening to me? Where do I need to be? What do I need to do? How do I need to help myself? And I've had enough. There's been personal struggles, in the past 6 months, and I kind of fell off the wagon. And I thought, oh my word, I gained some weight. I stopped exercising, and I had to go, okay, what do I need to do?
Yeah.
My stomach, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that it's my head right now, and I need to just show up. And that's what I always say to myself. It doesn't matter if I go to the gym and I work out for, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, just show up. And most days it's, when I lived in Florida, I was by myself, and yeah, I didn't know anybody down there. And what I did was I just showed up. Did I want to go to CrossFit? No, this woman kicked my butt. But did I love it? Yeah, because mentally I became a better person. And when after I left Florida and came back to Rhode Island, I kind of honeymoon stage, I got married and life got exciting. And then I kind of fell away from it. And I was like, whoa, I need to get back on track for me.
Yeah.
And so it's just, there are days that I go out on the boat and I get home, I get back to the dock around 6 in the morning. And I'm like, all right, my gym bag is in the car. Just show up. Even if I can just give myself 30 minutes, I'm happy. And then I'm like,
That's good.
some guy's sweating next to me right now. I can do better. And I'm like competitive in my own head. And I'm like, all right, fine. You're going to be there for an hour. I can be there for an hour too. Wait, you're going to go work out and do some weights? I am too. Guess what? And showing up. And if I didn't show up, I wouldn't have done anything, and I would have just sat home. So, and then there are some days that I show up and I'm like, yeah, I can give you 35 minutes. That's about the best I can do. I'm struggling today. And then I do other things, I'm an avid knitter. And so I knit, and I will find my way and then just, do what I can. So I don't know.
Yeah. I think the hardest part when it comes to any form of exercise, whether it's walking or going to the gym, the hardest
Or
part
hobbies.
is the mental struggle,
Anything.
putting on the shoes, getting in your car and going. And there's been times like while I did this challenge, I knew that I had to do a minimum of 45 minutes. And you're like, I'm just going to set the timer. And like, you're going and you're kicking and screaming. I don't want to.
I felt so sorry for her. Some days I was like, oh, Sherry, I feel your pain.
And then the first workout or two for me was like, I don't want to be here right now. This is so stupid. I could be doing something else. But then something always shifts. And then I would see the girl who has the sweat pouring down her back because she is killing. And I'm like, well, now I feel like garbage. And there's something, and it's like, and it's not a competition thing. It's like, okay, well, this girl is giving out a lot of work. I can push it more. But something shifts while you're doing it. And then all of a sudden the timer goes off and you're like, I could do a couple more before I get. And then like you kind of do a little bit more, but it's for 75 days, every single day is like, I don't want to go on this walk right now. I don't want to do it. And I'm bitching as I'm putting on the shoes. And we all do it, I worked out every day for 75 days straight, and it didn't necessarily get easier. But it was something about, I was like, I'm worth it. I need to commit to myself. I have to be consistent. And every time I did it, there was not one workout I did where I left feeling worse. I always felt accomplished. Like, I'm so glad I did it. And then when you start seeing results, then you're like obviously more motivated.
And your results have been amazing.
Yeah, and it's just been so
just
exciting.
To say.
But thank you. But the point is, whether you're 6 weeks out or 16 years out, it's always going to be the mental struggle. It's the mental struggle with yourself to say, I need to do this and we all make excuses. And you can tell us a little bit about your line of work, which is just fascinating. But sometimes like you're gone for hours at a time. Like if you're not working a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday job.
I don't.
I think your day can sometimes start as early as 4 a.m. You could be getting home at 11 o'clock at night, or whatever the case is. So it's so easy to have the excuse, I don't have time to work out, or I don't have time to eat healthier, or I don't have time to meditate, or whatever the case may be. Right. But once you start committing to yourself and say, I need time to recharge my battery, however that is, you have to make time. So how do you make time for yourself with the kind of different you have?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I am a boat captain. Let's back up. I have my degree in education and psychology, and I taught maritime history and sailing for 20 years. Loved it. But it wasn't my love. It wasn't my passion. I wanted to be on the water. I did end up in Bermuda, and I taught for the America's Cup sailing program for a year. And then I was like, I really don't want to teach. I mean, kids today, it's a different breed than when I started teaching. So my passion was always to be a boat captain, and I wanted to be taken seriously. I am a female in the maritime industry, and it's kind of difficult sometimes. And being a 5-foot female, I'm not gonna lie. When I lost weight, I lost height and shoe size. I was 5'3".
Yeah, it's true.
It's
How
crazy.
weird is that?
Isn't that crazy? My feet were that fat. But anyway,
Yeah.
So my passion always been to be a boat captain, and unfortunately, I was in a really toxic relationship for I don't even know how long. He was a tugboat captain. He's like, oh, captains are a dime a dozen. You'll never make it. What are you thinking? Blah blah blah. Got out of that, and I got my captain's license, and I've worked my way up to. I work on
I
pilot
love that.
boats. I work on boats that it's not very big. Well, yes, it's big. It's a 70-foot boat that goes out to all the ships. So, car ships, the fuel ships, the cement ships, the cruise ships. Right? We had a cruise ship this morning. And so our schedule is 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And I have to be there 2 hours prior or 2 hours after. So I can work 14, 16 hours a day. Sometimes I work an hour or 2 hours. It just depends on what the traffic's going on. So yeah, so I work days, and then I get a day off, which is tomorrow. I'm excited. And then I have a week of nights, 7 nights, and then I have 6 days off.
I
So where do
love
I
it.
spend time? I have a gym bag in my car. I will routinely put a sports bra on when I go out on the boat because, well, let's face it, it's more comfortable.
Yes.
Who really wants to wear a bra anyway? So I try to make sure I put a sports bra on. I try to make sure I put gym socks on. I have sneakers, my running shorts and tank tops or whatever I need in my car. Make sure my headphones are plugged in. And some days, like I will end up at the gym at 5:30 in the morning, thinking, oh, no one's going to be there.
Wow. Yeah.
Where there are so many people in the gym.
Really busy.
It's busy, and so it's like lunchtime is your quiet time. So it just depends when I how my schedule looks, how my day looks, and I try to get in. Do I get in every day? No. Do I try for 5 days a week? That's my goal.
Yeah.
That is my ultimate goal. Now, do I get it every week? No, but I try. Life happens. I've got kids that are adults. I have parents that are even older adults. I'm a newly married, so that's real too. So
congrats to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, he is the best.
Oh,
and I love that. And I love that. Even though you have like this crazy schedule, and there's people that can relate to that, especially like if you're a nurse or you're on your feet for 12 hours a day. Sometimes, and I understand it's way easier said than done, and sometimes it sounds way much better on paper than in reality. But when I tell people to take time for yourself every day, I'm not saying you have to go spend 2 hours in the gym. That's not a realistic goal. But if you're at work and you have an hour lunch break, you can walk for 30 minutes and have a bite to eat. I mean, there's things, and all of our schedules are different and our lifestyles are different. We can always find something to do. And if you are unable to get a workout in every day, you can meal prep. Like there's so many different things that we can do. And that's why I want to know more about this program that you're doing, because I love that it's so individually tailored to finding out what works for your schedule, for what your dietary restrictions are, what you can and cannot handle. And it's finding something that works for you. And one thing that, and I don't know if it happened to you, but when you're overweight, everybody and their brother and sister and mother and grandma will tell you,
and dog,
and the dog will bark at you. You need to do this diet that so and so did because they lost all of this weight. I have been recommended every single diet or plan under the sun.
And me.
To the point where I said, look, I honestly think that weight loss or diet plans is like religion. There's so many options out there. There's no one religion or one exercise plan that works for the entire world. But there's so many options out there that you need to find what works for you and works best. Some people will swear by a Weight Watcher. Some people are like, it didn't work for me. Some people swear by keto. For me, it caused a lot of other issues that we're not going to get into. So there's so many different things. So it's about, our job is not to tell you what to do. It's to figure out what is your daily schedule like, whether it's with kids and work and stress and all these things, and what can we do? What small changes can we make that you can realistically fit into your schedule? And
Yeah, it's true.
yeah, and the hardest part is just picking it and being consistent. And with anything else, whether it's the keto or the Weight Watchers, the Jenny Craig or the South Beach or the, juicing or what, it will work if you're consistent with it.
Yeah.
And don't jump in all guns blazes, a ton of it and all this, and then go, I don't want to do it anymore.
Right.
You know, and the same with the exercise. What you were saying to me the other week, don't do 45 minutes like I do. Do 10 minutes or 5 minutes and then build it up. And then the next time do 10 minutes and the next time and the next time do 10 minutes and the next time 15 minutes. Because otherwise, if I'm going to suddenly do 45 minutes, I'm going to go, not doing that again.
Especially if you're not used to it. And I tell people, pick a goal that's so ridiculously easy that it's almost really hard to fail at it. So if it means go outside and walk for 10 minutes and set your timer for 10 minutes, that's like a couple of commercials worth or whatever. You almost can't fail at that.
Your commercials, yours are so long commercials.
Yeah, we have long commercials here. It's ridiculous.
You do.
And it's because we have so many medical, prescription commercials that the commercial is 95% of the commercial is all of the side effects of the medication. And then by the way, take this drug.
Is it?
It's terrible. That's a complete separate tangent. But if you start with 10 minutes, it becomes so easy that oftentimes I say you can choose this to take the suggestion, but after 10 minutes, you're like, I can walk for another 5 minutes. But if you have like this set bar of 10 minutes, you might only do the 10 minutes. You might do 45 minutes that particular day. But the point of it is you're doing something slightly more than you did yesterday. You're at least doing something, and then it becomes a habit. And like I said, after 75 days, I didn't work out the last couple of days. I was like, I think I've earned the right to take a break for a few days, but I've been itching to go. I've actually been wanting to go to the gym when before I was bitching about putting on my shoes and having to like get in the car and go to the gym. And now I'm like, what time do I want to go to the gym today? Like something changes in you that makes you want to keep going.
I think it does anyway. Any sort of habit that you want to get out of or in, and I think it takes that time, and then after amount of time, you do suddenly get into it, and you're just like, it's a thing of water and everything, isn't it? It's the same thing.
It just becomes a part of life. It becomes your
part of you.
routine. Yeah, and it makes you feel good, and then all of a sudden you crave that. You're like, this activity makes me feel good, which then puts me in a better mood, which then makes me more conscious about what I'm eating down the road. And then so like every day you're like, I need me time. Like this is for me.
Yeah. Talking about me time. Did I say about reinventing ourselves earlier, or did we do it in the before chat?
No, we were talking about it.
Oh, we were. Okay. Because we were talking about it before, weren't we? And I thought, oh no, really, that was a good topic for what you were talking about, reinventing yourself and things. So but I couldn't remember whether we had it in the hour or not.
You're so funny. And I can't believe like we're almost like out of time again, which is insane. But
I know, it just goes so quick.
Yeah, and so before
that's why I was like, oh, did we do that?
Yeah. So before we go, you have 10 years of experience. The highs, the lows, the good, the bad, the things that you would probably go back in time and change or redo or whatnot. For somebody who's watching this and they're thinking about having the surgery, what advice would you offer based on your experiences? What advice would you give to somebody who came to you and said, Hallie, I'm thinking I might be doing this surgery. What do you think? Or what could you suggest?
Well, I mean, if someone came to me and said, I'm going to do the surgery, I would be like, all right, what do you need? That one of the things that I didn't have was a support person. So I would probably make sure I had a support person, especially since my mom was not my support person, which she should have been. That's okay. Neither here nor there. We're actually, my mom and I are actually very good. Well, we've done so much better now that I'm married. I think she likes him better, but that's okay.
I feel like it's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, I know, right? What would I? It's not a sprint. I keep reading these things like, oh my gosh, when am I going to lose this weight? I'm at a stall, or slow down. You didn't gain 300 pounds overnight. You're not going to lose it overnight. This is a marathon, and you're going to fall, and you're going to fail. And if you're not failing, guess what? You're not living. You gotta experience some of this stuff, and it's okay to fail, because that means you're learning and you're experimenting. And I think we just need to be easier on ourselves, and I need to take my own advice sometimes. I need to be easier on myself too. I mean, I beat myself up and go, oh God, I look so bad right now. And luckily I have a fabulous husband who calls me little, because he's like, you are little, you know that, right? And I'm like, no, I'm not that little. So making sure you have a support person, and making sure, and knowing that you may lose those toxic friends that you think are those perfect friends. That's okay. Find more, and there are beautiful people out there, and you don't have to go to other countries to find them. They're standing right next to you. You just don't know yet. Reach out.
Oh, hold on a minute. Different countries, nice people. Hold on, stand next to me, Sherry. We're supposed to be in the same country. There you are.
Oh, that's right.
That's how she meant.
Support group, good friends, stand next
But
to
yeah,
me.
I mean, I did go to a support group when I first got surgery, and the therapist in the support group said, oh, well, eat whatever you want, and you can just run more. Like, what? So make sure you find a good support system, like, and not like with this book, I always find everything's not meant for everybody. Some people really do well with Weight Watchers, like you said. Some people do really well with that. I don't do well with that. But find what's good for you. And that's really what this book taught me, is like, everything is tailor it to yourself. It's about you. It's about nobody but you. And you're not competing with anybody but yourself. You got to do better than you did yesterday. And don't look at who, so-and-so has a same surgery date. Oh my gosh, how much weight have you lost? Well, guess what? My body is different than yours. My body carried me. Did your body? You're a man. I'm a woman. Like,
exactly.
Stop comparing and look at you and work on you, and because it has nothing to do with anybody else. So
like, I am, and I told you when I first met you, like, you are my spirit animal. I'm telling you, because everything that you were saying is exactly what I tell people. It is not a sprint. It is a marathon. You cannot compare your results to anybody else. You and Victoria both have the bypass. Victoria's, I think, 5'4". Like, you guys are similar in height. You're gonna have two.
Shrinking, obviously.
Well,
since we've had it.
You're gonna have two completely different experiences. You can't compare yourself to anyone else. You can't beat yourself down if you're not getting the results when you want, because you're creating an expectation based on the results of other people.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't do that because you don't know what your results are going to be. Yeah. Two people who are, I'm 5'7", so two of us at 5'7", one of us is going to look a lot better in a size 8 than the other one. One of us is going to look fat. The other one's probably going to look ghastly skinny or something. All we can do is exactly what Hallie said. We can only compare ourselves to the version that we were yesterday. And as long as we're improving who we were yesterday, then we are successful. We're getting there.
Yeah. I mean, and I think for me, it was, I had stopped surviving and I started living. And that was a huge turning point for me. I started living and I started being me. I mean, I stopped wearing black. That. I stopped, I wear color, a lot of Lily Pulitzer, and you know what? I don't care. I'll wear my pink overalls on a boat with all men. Guess what? I'm a girl. I'm okay. I'm okay with it, So, and I think that's, and accepting yourself, and some days I need reminders, and I do get those reminders from my husband. I try to remind myself. Sometimes it's harder than others, and I'm still 10 years out, but I don't think about my surgery as much as I did 5 years ago. I don't think about my surgery like I did 3 years ago.
Great.
So I don't really think about it anymore. I do.
Great.
I do, you know, I mean, yes, we're talking about it now, but honestly, I probably don't think about it other than, sheesh, I really want that right now. Am I going
It's
to pay for it?
really good.
Yeah.
So,
And
you know,
that's inspiration to look forward to, something for everybody to look forward to. The fact that,
Yeah.
you know what, I did it, done it, been there, got the t-shirt, bye.
yeah, I
And I
think,
love that. And it was so funny because you say that it's so far removed from you because that's just so far in the past. It doesn't define you anymore, which is why, and Victoria and I say, I believe everything happens for a reason, whether or not we understand it. But for somebody who never thinks about it, it's kind of like an afterthought. The
yeah,
fact that you had reached out to me when I had put out, like, I was looking for people, and you're like, oh, yeah, I can talk about it. And then you're like, oh, yeah, I don't even think about it. Well, in that exact moment, like, I wonder if I should message this person back, or I wonder if I should message this person and reach out. And I'm honestly, Hallie, I'm so glad that you did because the advice you gave today is so
Fantastic.
it's
Jackie was just saying, what did Jackie say? Way a ton of good advice. That was
yeah,
Jackie's.
Jackie was saying it's just such
So, hi,
amazing
Jackie.
advice. And it's such valuable information that can literally be applied to every single person who is watching this or in the world,
Mhm.
even if you don't have a weight issue. It's just about how potent your mindset is and
Positive thinking.
yeah, and going for after what you want. You went into a field that is extremely male dominant and you freaking kicked ass at it, and now you're your own captain when you were told good luck with that.
You're never
Like,
going to be that. Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you're truly a testament that mind over matter is so underrated and that your mindset will determine all of your outcomes. You're not comparing yourself to anymore. As you said earlier, I'm not putting you down. I was like, you are no longer Fat Hallie. That
no,
she does not exist. That character has been killed off, but the
yeah,
character existed. So
oh, yeah,
sometimes once in a while you go
You
back
have
and
to
think,
reinvent it.
about these
Yeah.
memories.
Not reinvent it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just Hallie now, and you're going out there and you're living your
Yeah.
best life. And we
Yeah.
are
All
so
good.
blessed and honored that you
I
even
love that. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on, Hallie.
I think I responded to you on a night shift like at 2 o'clock in the morning. So, yeah,
you
it
did.
was just one of those random
Have a good day off tomorrow, though.
thumbing through my phone going, oh, when's this ship coming in? I'm tired.
Ah,
Yeah,
But
have a
and
good
I
day off tomorrow.
absolutely.
yeah, and so yeah, so just thank you so much for being here today.
Thank
I'm
you.
looking forward to keep watching your story because we're like friends now, so you
I
can't
know
keep
we're officially friends.
happening.
I
Um,
love it.
And if anybody watching this now or is going to be watching it later when it's on the shows, if you have any questions that you want to ask Hallie directly or you want to kind of like follow up on, send us
Please
a
comment.
message. Yeah, you can comment on the video, whether it's on YouTube, Stitch, Facebook, or whatever. You can message us on Facebook or even on TikTok at Bariatric Beauties. Ask us questions. We will get Hallie. Hopefully, she'll come back again if we ask her to and answer some of those questions for you. And I can't believe an hour has gone by already.
I know.
You guys are amazing.
Thank you
Oh,
so
thank you.
much, darling.
You guys
Thank
are
you so
beautiful.
much for coming on.
Absolutely beautiful.
And so, you guys, that's our show for today. Tune in on Friday. We're going to have Feel Good Friday.
Good Friday.
And we actually have a couple of other exciting guests coming up next week and the week after. So we can't wait to share those with you. We'll save that for next week. We're not going to give it away right now. But Hallie, you've been amazing. And thank you so much. And we will see everyone else on Friday.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.